All right, guys, welcome back to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Got a great interview lined up. Thanks to my producer, Vulture. I got Isaac from Hidden in the Shadows podcast to come on. And from what I understand, you guys are like ghost hunters or paranormal investigators.
Uh,
Explain it.
Not yet anyway, but I do appreciate having me on. Um, no, we are paranormal enthusiasts in the highest level. It's like we've never tried to investigate, but we've always had paranormal things happen to us. Like between me and my wife, we probably have enough experiences to write about a couple novels,
Mm.
just alone from what we've experienced ourselves. Ghost hunting and investigating is next on our to-do list, but um, anything you think in the paranormal world has probably happened to us. And that's why most of the subjects on our podcast, not everything we have experience in, but most things we've had experience
Mm.
in.
Do you have to be a religious person to believe in ghost or the paranormal type stuff? Because I mean, doesn't everybody tell us spirits are just people that have been here, or if there is an afterlife, then that means you kind of believe in religion and somewhat. Do you consider yourself a religious person? What about the people that don't believe in it? Are ghosts religious based is what I'm trying to say.
Not necessarily. My point of view and my wife's point of view is from a Christian background because we were both raised that way. Well, her more Catholic, I'm just Protestant. But in a sense of spirituality, it doesn't necessarily have to be based on religion. I know a lot of paranormal investigators and people who are into paranormal have no belief in religion whatsoever. Because different theories surround the paranormal, especially when it comes to ghosts and spirits, as our human spirit surrounding aliens, possibly, and different
Mhm.
things of that nature. I wouldn't say you would have to be, but it does open a door up to there is something after you die to experience and believe in spirits, ghosts, and stuff and such as that. To believe nothing happens when you die is an impossibility for me because just the things that I've experienced alone, I know there is something after.
Mm.
What it is and how we experience it, that's still yet to happen, obviously. But what I've learned, what I've experienced alone, I know for sure something happens after we die. Now, the different theories surrounding what we do and where you go, that's for debate. But no, to answer your question, I would say you wouldn't have to be any kind of religion. There's Judas people who are Jewish believe in it, people who are Islam, different religions, people who aren't religious at all, but still have
Yeah.
a spiritual sense of mind.
Oh crap! I hit my headphones here. Why do I do that every time? I do that every interview. All right, so I can't even hear now. I don't think. Can you hear me? Hello,
Yeah.
hello, hello. Yeah. All right. So let me back up here. So what movie gets it the most right? Like a lot of people look at movies. What movie has gotten it the most right when it comes to the spiritual life, spiritual world, spiritual beliefs, afterlife, stuff like that?
I would say none.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them that we call Hollywoodize
Mm.
certain movies. Found footage style films make it the most real. Stories
But
that
like
involve
Paranormal Activity, come on. I
yeah.
mean, that one was, pretty good one, I thought.
Well, it's one of my favorites when it comes to like horror films. I'm a horror film fanatic myself, but when it comes to like the paranormal activity style, yeah, that would be a good representation. How you can't see anything and how it builds and how it's random and how it doesn't
Mhm.
it doesn't make any sense to people who are experiencing it. And then finding a reason why behind why your place is haunted. Could it be the house? Could it be something I
Mhm.
brought home? Different things like that. The stories that involve the Warrens, the Conjuring and the Conjuring 2, those are based on actual
Wasn't the
cases.
nun what wasn't the nun a part of that whole storyline too or something? Or
Yes.
did you ever see the nun? I think that one, like it was kind of tied in, like loosely based, I think.
Yeah, it's one of the cases that the Warrens did. It was one of the first cases. But it wasn't necessarily a nun. It was a nun possessed by a demon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So if I'm just a person, what are some of the things for me to look out for, maybe to know? Because like ghosts or the spiritual world doesn't just like slap you in the face and say, hey, I'm a ghost. what are some of the things that people need to look out for? Like, in the Sixth Sense, they said cold rooms, the hair on the back of your neck would stand up, stuff like that. What is something that people, some of the warning signs that will make them think that maybe they have seen a ghost?
Well, cold spots, temperature changing, that's usually a big giveaway. Things moving around the room, lights flickering, but most of those can be explained by electricity problems in your house, stuff like that, or how houses creak. But when you experience something truly you cannot explain, then you got something in your house. Because what I've learned when it comes to ghosts and spirits, human spirits, is that there's residual and there's intelligence. Residual essentially it's almost like an echo of someone who was there. They
Oh, I got you. I
repeat
got you.
their life as it was when they were alive. Like a woman come down the stairs on her wedding day. Will repeat that every night over and over again. An intelligent spirit knows they're dead and is trying to communicate. And they'll move their things around the
So Bruce
room.
Willis, Bruce Willis was not an intelligent spirit then in the movie Sixth Sense because he didn't know he was dead.
It's yes and no. It's like he moved his life as it was when he's alive, but he didn't repeat. He didn't know he was dead, and that story alone was, yeah, it was pretty good.
I mean,
But
that was pretty good. It was kind of
yeah,
creative. I thought it was.
yeah. But then when it comes to non-human spirits,
What do you
like
mean
demon,
non-human? Like things that were born in the pits of hell, or like a demon, or or demons and ghosts different?
very different.
Okay.
Um, things that were not human probably have been here longer than man's been on Earth. Spirits of that essence, demons that, like you said, were born from the pits of hell, angels that were corrupted, or even evil spirits from different religions and stuff like that, like a jinn from the Islamic religion.
Did you like the I swear, I love the show Supernatural. Did you like the TV show Supernatural at all, or did you ever
Uh,
watch it?
I was young when it first came around, and then as I got older, people told me about, hey, check it out, but I never really gave it, 2 cents.
I gotta tell you, like, I mean, with anything, it gets Hollywooded up, but like
Yeah.
they stick to a lot of the rules, the lore, they had this reoccurring thing in the TV show where, like, if they were dealing with a spirit, they couldn't cross over like salt. Salt was like not good for them, and iron. They were like allergic to iron in the show as well too. I don't know why, but it was just a weird thing, but at least they stuck to a certain story point. It wasn't like all over the place with stuff.
Yeah.
It was a good show. I think you should try it out. But I mean, you'll definitely laugh at it. Now, tell
Okay.
tell me a little bit about some of your experiences. You've had experiences. Your wife has had experiences. Explain a little bit about those.
Now, had experiences since she was a kid,
Hmm.
even from when she was in the crib, seeing and talking to her grandfather, who had passed away at the time.
Has it
Till
always been her grandfather?
No, it's been different people that have come and talked to her. We've actually, when I first met her, and after we started dating for a while, she told me that I wasn't. I mean, I kind of told her like I was in the paranormal. I kind of like I'm fascinated by stuff like that. She said it's good because my house is haunted and will always be. And I go, what are you talking about? And she says, there's been 5 ghosts supposedly that follow me around, and
Mm,
we've actually together figured out that it's a old man, roughly
mm.
around his 60s. He doesn't cause much problem otherwise than shuffling around the room and making noise, but there's 2 little kids, a boy and a girl. The boy apparently is afraid of me. The little girl, no problem. A teenage girl, would say 13, 14. And we know she's from the colonial times because my wife's actually seen her. And she's in that traditional like gown that you would wear to bed
Mm.
in that period of time. And then there's a man, and I would say he's around his late 30s, 40s, and he's the
Mm.
asshole. He's the one that's caused the most problems. But
Do you think he's trying to move in on your territory? Like he's scoping out your wife and stuff. He's probably like, this guy's competition. There could be some jealousy there.
yeah, you can say that. But yeah, she's had those 5 different ghosts, and there's actually a story I'll tell a little bit later of
Mm,
how we're not bothered by him anymore. So when I met her, I
mm.
experienced everything you could think of. I've been scratched, I've been talked to, I've seen doorknobs rattle, I've been grabbed from underneath the bed. I've even seen the girl that she talks about peek her head around a corner and look at me for a second and come back. But that's her experience. That's my experience with her, and she's like seen her like laundry basket fly across the room. Different
Mm-hmm.
people talk. She's heard her name spoken to her consistently. Most of my experiences happened on my ranch in Texas, my family
Oh,
ranch that I grew up on.
all right.
Uh, I would say we don't know why it's haunted. I have my theories of why, but everything you can think of, I've experienced when it comes to seeing things, to hearing things, to actual a possible cryptoid we probably heard. Um, like one story in particular, I invited my friend. Well, actually, I was hanging out with my friends at his place, and he asked me to stay over this on a Saturday to stay over so we can go to church next day on Sunday. I was like, fine, but I need to go back to my place to get my gear and my clothes because I played in the praise band, so I need to get my stuff. So he said, yeah, fine, I'll take you back to your house. I live about 15 minutes outside of town, out in the boonies. Where I live on my ranch, there's no street lamps. It's complete darkness, windy roads to get there. So it's really out there. Um, and he basically, we went there, he pulled him around, and my friend Steven was driving, and my friend Matt was in the back seat. I was riding shotgun, or actually, he was riding shotgun. I was in the back. And we pull up to my place. We get out, and I've told him stories before. And we get out. My front porch lights off. It's dark. I walk up. Me and Steven go. Matt stays behind. I say, "Hey, are you sure you want to stay behind?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm fine." Like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm cool. Whatever." So me and my friend Steven walk to the house. Tell my mom what's going on. Go into my room. Talk to my brother for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Grab my stuff. And as we're walking out, I turn the porch light on because I want to walk in darkness as we walk out. As we get out, I see Matt now in the back seat, and he looks freaked out. And I go, "What are you doing?" He looks at us like, get in the car. Get in the car now." I'm like, "Dude, what's wrong?" Like, "Get in the car. Get in the fucking car now." I was like, "Well, whatever." So we throw our stuff in, and we just drove off. And he told us as we're driving back into town, while we were inside, he heard a hoof stomp, like a horse or cow,
Oh, okay.
next to the car, then away from the car, then next to the car, then away off in the distance, then next to the car, then off in the distance. And he said this repeated for about 20 seconds. And he started getting freaked out. So he jumped in the back seat, right? And like it was like ducking down, made sure he couldn't, no one could see him. And then he heard like a nail hit the side of the car, like a dink, and then
Uh-huh.
scratching the side of the car, which he got in a fetal position and was about the horn when I turned the
A
porch light
cow
on.
were coming by. It was a horn, right? It was like scraping.
Yeah, well, my grandfather had cattle, but he didn't see anything.
Yeah.
And so on the ride back to town, he's telling us this. And as he's telling us this, all the deer, because where I live, there's a lot of deer that basically would hit your car just driving by. And they all stopped on the side of the road and stared at us. And he was like,
Oh.
"Why are the deer staring at us? Why are they staring at us?" I had no idea why. So we got back in the town, we got in the house, we looked at the side of the car to make sure there was actually something there. And yeah, there was a thin, like someone took a needle and scraped the side of the car. To which
Yeah,
point
that
he never came back to my house again.
now, what can people do to protect themselves against angry spirits? Or are there angry spirits? Are they all angry? I mean, some are nice, like in the movies, they'll be like, they just want your help, maybe figuring out something, or they're just stuck and they're not doing anything, but they're just stuck there. But then, you hear about all these like bad spirits, the ones that are there to cause problems. Well, how can people protect themselves?
When it comes to bad spirits, bad human spirits, mind you, um, most of the time you try to figure out what they want. Some of them are just there to be an a-hole. You got to think, if someone was an asshole who died and their whole point was to torment people, they're still going to be around. They're still going to follow those patterns, i.e.,
Mhm.
a murderer, psychopath, or even those who were insane when they died. They're just going to repeat dangerous things as when they're dead. Uh, and there's different things you can do. Salt works as guarding your house. Different kinds of I don't want to say enchantments, but different things that you can put around your home to prevent certain spirits from getting in. There's a whole bunch of different things, and there's theories around like which ones actually work and which ones don't. When it comes to demons, usually any kind of religious symbols whatsoever can
Like a
prevent them from
devil.
coming in.
Well, they always I remember on Supernatural they had like devil's traps or whatever, where it would guard you or they would get trapped in there. It was really really cool because it made me actually look a lot of stuff up and a lot of those insignias like demons because demons can actually possess you, right?
Yes, if they break you down enough.
But like you're talking about symbols though, like they ended up getting tattooed with symbols that would not allow demons to like possess their bodies. Like could and that's the only reason when you brought up symbols and enchantment stuff like that that made me think of that. So
I would say if there is, I've never heard any. I wish there was because I would get more. I already have tattoos myself.
yeah.
Uh, but the Seal of Solomon is one kind of entrapment. You saw it actually used in, I forgot which Paranormal Activity movie. I think it was like 3 or 4. They used the Seal of Solomon to entrap one of them. But if it's not properly put together or not the right thing, it can easily release. It's kind of like a trap that would keep them there for a second or so. Um, but yeah, I've heard things about the Seal of Solomon that can actually work.
Now, are spirits invincible? Like, can you get rid of them? Like, or do they just go to the other side per se? Or can you destroy them? Or can demons? Are demons and indestructible?
Well, every time anyone performs exorcism, and I'm actually learning demonology myself, but
Mhm.
anytime performs an exorcism, you're not destroying the demon, you're banishing it, banishing
Mm.
back to where it came from. And there's different theories of like where they go. Now,
They go
what
to
I've heard,
hell
uh,
if
if
people are religious people.
to religious people, you have to be held. But what they actually believe that ghost, demon, spirits, or what they all are, is on our plane, you would say, and they have access to our reality to come back and
Oh,
forth.
so it's like a
Now,
different dimension.
as I was saying, one thing I forgot to warn you about: spirits can travel through electronic airwaves, so whatever
So
whatever
that might
is
have been up because
here
that
can
was
easily go through and get to you.
yeah, see, and I'm wearing headphones right now, so that damn thing went right in my damn eardrum. So now I'm really, really in trouble. Hopefully, it wasn't like a demon. Demons can't cross lines, right?
Now they can really do whatever they want, but
Ah, damn it. Okay, God,
there's
man.
none here though.
Well,
Believe me, we've done enough to protect our place.
um,
Dealing with
if
them.
pe- if people want to find out more, because this is very, very fascinating stuff. When does your podcast come out? Where can they catch it? Are you on any social media where people can follow you and maybe learn more about the spiritual world?
Yeah, our podcasts come out every Friday, every new episodes. We range in different subjects surrounding the paranormal when it comes to anything from cryptoids to conspiracies to aliens to ghosts, demons. We even had one on the fairy folk, and
Oh,
people.
see, they covered fairies on Supernatural as well too, man. The fairies were real nasty on the show, man.
Yeah, I've actually, like I said, we've experienced almost everything we've talked about, and on fairy folk, I've actually seen a gnome.
Oh,
Um,
see, everybody thinks like fairies are nice and stuff, but are fairies nice in the real world or like, because on the show they portrayed them as kind of not cool.
I only saw one. I didn't. I didn't. They actually talked to him, and it was very quick. He was very, or whatever it was. It was very shy. It did not want to communicate with me. It basically just peeked around a bush, and I saw his little hat, that little
Oh,
pointed hat, and just he was basically in the shadow, so I didn't actually see color or anything. But he peeked down and then jumped behind the bush, and that was here where I live now.
wow.
Never thought I would see something like that. Most of what I've dealt with is ghosts and demons and stuff like that, and maybe a few alien sightings whatsoever, but never a gnome, never like fairies or anything like that.
What is the one supernatural thing that you just don't want to run into, like that people have spoken about, or has spoke about? Like, what is the one supernatural thing? It's like, oh, you don't want to run into that.
For anyone or myself,
Just anyone, or even you. Like,
the few times I've encountered a demon, it's
Oh.
not something to mess with. It's not something to play with. It's not something to even want to communicate or even ask it things. The most dangerous thing you can do is assume that you're in control of it, and you can ask it or command it to do what you want.
Oh, they're like the great chess players. They're always a couple of steps ahead of you. They're gonna trick you or stuff like that.
Well, their whole existence is to torment and cause pain and mess with humans altogether. That is their entire existence. That's their point of why they exist. Um,
Can you make a deal? Like I've read the stuff about, making deals with the devil or a demon, like, and then it's like for your soul or something. Does any of that stuff go on?
I've never never talked to anyone who had, but to do so would be dangerous because then you're inviting it in, and it
Yeah.
will stick around. It will stick around. And what I've learned when it comes to demonic oppression and possession is that they have to break down your will before they can actually possess you. So then you deal with oppression. You'll deal with random anger and depression and different things that they would do to break you down emotionally and mentally before they can enter. Because when you're at your lowest point, when you've given up on everything, you're an easy vessel
Target. You're a
to take
mark.
over. Yeah.
Um, has a demon ever taken over a powerful person? Even maybe a politician. I'm not saying Donald Trump, but anybody, any politician. Like, I mean, if their whole purpose is to cause and torment, why haven't they taken over like some like important person?
to what I've learned, and this is what I just learned, but it's not a easy process. It's not something simple as they take over and they're basically walking around. Hey, hey, hey! A demon in possession of a human is almost like it starts decaying the person that it's possessed. That's why
Oh, okay.
people's eyes look sunken. That's why they look thin. That's why they look like shit. Essentially, that's their whole entire
So it's like a
face and stuff like
parasite
that.
then.
Yes, in a basic sense of mind, that's what it is. It's a parasite, and it's only there to torment. Though, if some of these evil people in the world aren't influenced by them, maybe pushed the right way in the wrong direction, you would say, to start doing things that would make things more. Because that was an old saying: the devil's greatest trick is that he made people believe he doesn't exist.
Yes, I remember that. The first time I heard that quote was from the Usual Suspects. Kaiser Sose
Yeah.
used that quote in the movie.
Yeah, so allow people to do things that would be evil without fear of consequence.
Yeah, it
But
can't be the devil because he does not exist.
yeah,
Man,
uh,
that's man. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say that the to answer your question, I just remembered what you asked me a little bit earlier. We also have an Instagram at Hidden in the Shadows podcast. Our Twitter Hidden in the Shaw 6, and our TikTok we actually have now.
Ooh.
Hidden in the Podca 2. I'm not saying that with a Boston accent. That's how it's spelled.
Yeah. All right, Isaac, man. I once again tell people when the podcast comes out.
Every Friday, new episodes come out, and basically anywhere you get your podcast, you can literally find us: Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you can get it. We're actually on a new podcast platform called Buzzsprout. Um,
Oh.
so that's actually we actually joined their label, or whatever you want to call it, platform, to start promoting us and start getting our name out there.
Well, cool, Isaac, man. You got the voice for it. You're very well spoken. I got to tell you, man, you are definitely going to, because these niche podcasts, people love them, and I think you're going to blow up with it.
Well, I appreciate coming on. I've actually heard a few episodes, especially the one you did about the Twisted Tea guy.
Yeah. I mean, that guy deserved it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I don't even care. That guy, like, how he must have been so goddamn drunk at the time because, like, you could see where he was going. As soon as he pulled that big ass tall boy can out of the bag, I was like, yeah, he's about to hit this dude with it. And he even dropped it and twirled it in his hands before he hit him. It was like he was like a Western guy, with a
Yeah.
twirl the gun around. He like, bam, just like completely destroyed him. So, hey, Isaac, man, I really appreciate this. And let's stay in touch, man. I would love to promote you as much as I can. And I really, really appreciate you coming on my show.
I appreciate coming on myself. And thank you for the opportunity.
All right, Isaac, I'm always around if you ever need anything, man. I appreciate you.
You have a good day.